no matter where you are, man, start preparing for your future now. Being that husband, getting the finances in order, getting your credit in order, getting everything together so that you could be fully prepared as a man as much as possible, because guess what? The right relationship, the right person will pop up on you in a time that you didn't even expect it. And man, you want to be ready for it. You want to be prepared for it.
Are you ready? We're gonna run the play. Let's go. Do you know what it's like to come from nothing at all, but every day you just wanting it all? Do you know what it's like? Every day facing your fear, but believing that your blessing is near. Do you know what it's like? Growing up broken than most, but still being devoted the most. Do you know what it's like? Yeah, that's what the journey's about. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? This is Justin Owens. This is the Run the Play show, where I help break down the top plays of success from top leaders, entrepreneurs, and personalities by sharing gems from their personal playbook. And today, we're going to be talking about the truths and myths about the lifestyle of a bachelor. Now, let's just start here. I think it's very fitting to actually give you the actual definition of a bachelor, because I think some people confuse. The dictionary says that a bachelor is a man who is not and has never been married. So some of y'all think y'all bachelors and you're not, because you've been married, you understand? So Justin, although I'm divorced, I'm not a bachelor, right? Because been married. You can't be a bachelor if you've been married. Anyway, so let's go over some of the fallacies, the myths, and the truths about bachelors, because although I'm not today, although I guess technically by some people's terms, that's what they would say, the eligible bachelor and stuff like that. Nope, not. I am not that, but I have a lot of friends that are. And been in the past, and so I'll give you some thoughts on, kind of how this works. So, number one, this is a thought process that bachelors have more freedom and independence. And that's true. Without the responsibilities of a family, bachelors have the freedom to pursue their own interests and their own goals. But I want to throw an asterisk by this, is that if you got kids, they're part of it too. And so, because, sometimes we move a little different in this world and people have kids without being married, so I guess by definition, you could be a bachelor with kids, but that doesn't mean that you can just solely focus on your own interests. All right, we'll throw that out there. But here's a myth that bachelors are immature and irresponsible. And while some of them may be irresponsible, a lot of them don't exhibit these traits at all. They're not inherent to the lifestyle. It doesn't mean, just because somebody has the definition of that's who they are, maturity and responsibility depend on the individual and personality and life choices of the person that it is. Like everybody I know, just because they're older don't mean they're responsible. Just because they're older doesn't mean they're mature. Ladies, I think you know that. Men, I think you know that. Just because they're a little bit older don't mean they exhibit the qualities of being mature. What's up? This is Justin Owens, Run the Play show. And listen, this episode is being brought to you by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/RTP and get on your way to being your best self. Y'all heard me talk about it before. We're talking about divorce. We're talking about business challenges. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And as an entrepreneur, I think you deal with multiple things on multiple fronts, and even more so if you're a leader, because now not only are you dealing with your own stuff, but now you're having to deal with and cope with other people's things. And listen, I don't care if it's your career, your relationships. Therapy helps you stay connected to what you really want while you navigate life so you can move forward with confidence and excitement and in many ways be able to help others. But I think the most important thing is having the skills and the tools to help you navigate and practice so that you get better at doing it over and over and over again. And listen, it empowers you to be the best version of yourself, which in my opinion is probably one of the most important things. And as a black male in a world where we're taught, don't talk about stuff, which is wrong, right? You should. Listen, I love it because it's so private. So if you're thinking about therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's convenient, flexible, it works around your schedule, and it's simple. You go online, you fill out a questionnaire, you get matched up with a licensed therapist, and then you can switch therapists at no additional cost if you want to. So listen, let therapy be your mat with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/RTP to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/RTP. Y'all go run the play. Doesn't mean they exhibit the qualities of, of being a person that's put together, right? So We got to make sure we just understand that. Here's another one. Some people believe that bachelors have less financial stability. And although I hate to say this, it is true based on statistics. Without a partner to share expenses, bachelors may face higher living costs and less financial security. I will say this for myself. As a man, I got more serious about my finances when I got into a serious relationship, when I got into being a husband at the time, when I got to being a father. I became more serious about my finances. Why? Because you realize as a man, like, yo, you know how it is. If you struggling, you're like, okay, I can eat some ramen noodles, I can eat some hot dogs, I can thug it out, I can make it happen. Water ain't done, okay, water ain't paid, I can take a shower a certain way. But listen, when you get to a certain level and you got certain responsibilities, you're like, man, I don't want them to experience that. I have to start acting and operating at a certain level. And so that does make you make more money. So it's not just the fact of, hey, you become you get in a relationship, now you have a partner. It also, I also believe that responsibility, that creates you the desire and the requirement for you to produce more. Now, here's a myth that bachelors live a solitary and unhappy life. Like some people in their mind, like, it's like, oh, I'm by myself. Listen, some people choose to live that way, but others actually have close relationship with friends and families and have full, fulfilling lives. Listen, I will tell you, sometimes it ain't nothing better than going to the movies by yourself. Anybody ever gone to the movies by yourself? Go to a restaurant by yourself. You ain't got to worry about nobody grabbing your plate. Can I have your mashed potatoes? Can I have your salmon? Like, yo, you could just really just eat your food. You could just watch a movie and like, hey, what they say? Yeah, I ain't got to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know what I mean? Just watch the movies. So, you know, people aren't necessarily lonely. Some people have enjoyed that me time. And I think, listen, if you are in a situation where maybe you are single, but you don't necessarily want to be that way, it's like start taking advantage of those moments of like time with yourself. Start figuring out like what's going on in your head. Start figuring out what drives you, what motivates you, what you like. All right, but let's get to the next point. Bachelors have more time for personal growth and development. That's true. They should. With more free time, if they're maximizing it, with more free time, they can focus on personal interests, hobbies, and self-improvement. But if they're not responsible, then they'll be focusing on women and flights and, you know, trips. And there's nothing wrong with either. But what I've learned is like, man, you got to make sure you maximize, like my boy Anthony O'Neill says, maximize your single season. Like maximize the season that you have to go out here and create income, where you have to be able to go out here and work and nobody's texting you and saying, hey, how much longer are you going to be working? Or, hey, are you still doing that? Are you still doing this? Like, when are you done working? When I'm done, I don't know. But guess what? Enjoy this time now because you don't have to deal with that today. But there will be a time where you're going to have other responsibilities other than just producing income. Okay. Now, here's the next one. You know, people have this mentality that bachelors are selfish and they don't care about others. That's a myth. Like, that's a stereotype, and it's not accurate for all of them. Like, some of them are. But many bachelors have, like I said before, strong relationships with family, friends, and they're involved in their communities. And a lot of times they can help out people because they don't have these other responsibilities. Today, they don't have to save for college. They don't have to be paying other expenses. They can just really focus on themselves and help other people. So I think that's a big myth, and I think people got to get away from that because, you know, I think what people are saying is when you are single, you have the ability to focus on self, and although that is selfish, that doesn't necessarily mean that is a negative thing, because I also believe at the same time that as a person, you do have to take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. You got to fill your own cup so that you can have something to pour into other people. And so, listen, make sure you filling yourself up too, my guys and ladies. We'll do that. Here's another one. Bachelors face unique challenges in dating relationships. This is true because without a partner, you might find it challenging to find compatibility and just commitment in a relationship. Like, listen, I don't know if anybody's been in the dating world in a minute, but it's a little different out here. It is. It's, you know, listen, people, you know, some people just want money. Some people want drama. Some people got a lot of bags with them, and you got to figure out, all right, everybody got some stuff, but whose stuff can I deal with, right? Whose stuff am I willing to take on? Because guess what? You got some stuff. And this will be a great time for you, bachelors or single people, to say, okay, let me get me together. Like, this might be the time to get a little therapy and figure out what's going on in your past. Like, it might be a good time to check out, you know, man, let me try to make some peace with people in my family. You know, it might be a good time for me to make some peace with some things from the past, so I don't carry that into a relationship. So I don't carry that into fatherhood. So I don't carry that into being a husband, right? Here's another one. Bachelors have no commitment or responsibility. That's a myth. Now, while some of them may have fewer long-term commitments, they still got responsibilities such as work, maybe businesses, finances, and relationships with family and friends, which sometimes can be more taxing because people assume that because you don't have those responsibilities that you're more available to handle stuff. So here's the truth, man. The lifestyle of a bachelor is diverse, is multifaceted, it's fun. But you also have your times where it's like, yo, you're alone, and there's solitude. But there's truth and myths about the experience, and the reality really depends on individual circumstances and choices. And I think for you, you got to figure out which one makes the most sense for you. But listen, what I have learned is be grateful for where you are. Like if you're a bachelor but you want to be in a relationship, be grateful for where you are today. Take advantage of the pros and don't focus on the cons. Right? If you're in a relationship, don't be thinking about being a bachelor. That's all. The only thing that's going to do is get you there, because you got to be present, man. Listen, I will tell y'all this, guys. It ain't that much out there. And one of the things that you can do is very dangerous is you get out here and always be looking for the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Like always looking for the next person, the finest girl, then the next finest girl, and the finest girl after that, and then the fine girl got some money, and the finest girl got more money, and the finest girl that got money and no family problems, and the one that got family problems and fine. Like y'all ever seen that story? It was like and I think this happens to guys too in today's world. And guys, let me just say something, man. There's always gonna be a guy that's finer than you too. You know, let me just say something. There's always gonna be a guy that's making more money than you too, and there's gonna be somebody else that got some going on more than you too. And so we got to get out of this world. It's like, okay, man, who can I grow with? You know, who can I build with? You know, who can be my best friend? You know, who's a teammate? Those are things I'm really looking for, right? But there was a story of this lady that she was shopping. It was like it was something like you can go in the store, right? And the only rule was that you couldn't go back down a level. And so she got on the first floor, and it was like, okay, it was, now don't quote me on this, but it was something like, oh, okay, these are just nice guys. They had a good job. And she's like, okay, cool. Boom, next floor, goes up. She's like, what's here? Nice guys, good job, and they're handsome. She's like, oh, snap, that's better. But man, what's on the next floor? Like nice guy, nice job, handsome, makes good money, smells good, got a nice lifestyle. And then she started getting excited, like, yo, then what's on the next floor? And it had all the other things that was just mentioned, plus something else. And then she's like, man, what's on the next floor? She had all these other things, and then plus something else. And then it was money. And then it was, you know, health. And then it was, you know, more resources. And then it was more lifestyle. And it was just on and on. And they finally got to the top floor and it said, hey, exit the building. We appreciate you coming through. This was just to prove that there's no way to make somebody satisfied that's always looking for more. It was something like that, right? And it actually was really a jab at ladies. It was really saying something like, there's no way to really make a lady happy because she's always gonna look for more. But guess what? I think it applies to men too. I think, you know, men, you can always be looking for something more. And like sometimes, I'm not saying subtle, but also at the same time, it's like sometimes you gotta just chill and say, okay, man, what do I have? And let me build that. Like at a certain point as a community, we gotta get to a point where we start saying, okay, man, it's not just about making money, but like, what am I building? You know, who am I building with? What legacy am I building? You know what I mean? And that comes with guys too. It's like, yo, we got to get good advice. Like, not everything is like, all right, well, shoot, go get with another girl, man. Or now sometimes it's fix it, man. Sometimes it's like, yo, man, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I'm listening to you, man. That might have been you right there, bro. Hey, man, I'm listening to you, man. You might just got to remove your ego. I'll be transparent for me, like, yo, listen, when I was married, there were some things that was definitely her, no question about it. But after getting unmarried and then dating again, I was like, yo, there were some things that were definitely me. And then that's when you got to take accountability. And that's when you got to say, okay, you know, I do have to get better in that area. Why? Because now, guess what? You're in another relationship, and then there's similar things that come up. You're like, okay, yep, that's a consistent piece. So what point do we start taking responsibility? So just something to think about, the myths, the facts of a bachelor. But listen, what I tell you this is, no matter where you are, man, start preparing for your future now. Being that husband, getting the finances in order, getting your credit
in order, getting everything together so that you could be fully prepared as a man as much as possible. Because guess what? The right relationship, the right person will pop up on you in a time that you didn't even expect it. And man, you want to be ready for it. You want to be prepared for it. So you can operate, you can live life on your terms, relationship on your term, and have the best foundation that you can. And don't forget to get you some spirituality too while you're at it. That makes, I believe, some of the strongest men that I've seen in the world. So we just gave y'all a play, uncovering some myths, but more important than that, man, helping you to become more effective men operating in this world so we can continue to level up, man. So we just gave y'all a play. Go run it.
What's going on? Listen, make sure you guys go to RunThePlayStore.com. Get your official Run the Play gear. We talk about shirts, socks, jackets for everybody that's Run the Play all across the world.
Are you ready? We're gonna run the play. Let's go. Do you know what it's like to come from nothing at all, but every day you just wanting it all?